Afternoon, people. Back again for another big away days. Let's get into it. Come on.
I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713, could've 21 down riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and flying, it's not water. I get those goosebumps every time. Come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that.
Here we go, back again. So welcome all to Loaded Mag NUFC away days, and it's the big match preview: Arsenal versus Newcastle United, and looking forward to getting into this one. That's for sure. A little bit different though. Afternoon show, and I've got the main man here. Brandy and Blaze in the house. No Brandy today, but I'm sure the Blaze is up and running.
Blaze.
Of course. But how are you, fella? How's things?
All good, mate. Yeah, been chocker with work today, but yeah, been really looking forward to this one. Great, obviously, to have Dan back on, and really good to have Troopz on as well. So really looking forward to meeting him too.
Yeah, definitely. And last day for me, half term, back work next week. Not happy about it.
Oh, mate.
It is what it is. Been a good week, so can't complain. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Everyone's in there. Some people may be watching at work. Some people may not be, not naming any names. But yes, welcome all into the chat. And make sure you get your questions in. I see a few already for Potts and Troopz. And look, let's not beat around the bush. Let's get right into it. And let's welcome in one of the tag team that are coming to join us today. The Football's 12th Man podcast is the main man, Dan Potts. Let's get him in. How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm good. I'm struggling with a bit of man flu, Pete. I can't lie. But big up to you, big up to Chris, big up to everybody in the chat. Make sure you're doing the guys a favor, man, and smash the like, subscribe. Troopz will be in the house. Don't worry about it. He's finishing up on stream and he's bringing everyone over. So, yeah, hopefully we can get down to it, mate.
Yeah, definitely. And look, let's get down to it right now, because it's not necessarily been a good few days for Arsenal Football Club. What was promised to be a straightforward win, a lot of people said didn't quite work out that way. And unfortunately, you left Portugal with a 1-0 defeat. Now, what do you make of it all, Potts? I know you've on your channel had your opinion on it, but you've had a couple of days now to kind of let it sink in. Are you still annoyed with that result? Is there a bigger picture here? Like, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
So I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's Arsenal are getting dumped out of the Champions League. 1-0 over there could be a hell of a lot worse. But we ain't done well over there, Pete, in the last decade or so. We haven't won over at Porto ever. We've only ever beaten them at home. And when we have beaten them at home, it's been comfortable. It's been 3s, 4s and 5s. So I hope that it's the same. But what's a mad thing is that we actually wait 3 weeks now until we can actually try and put this right, which is a long time. Champions League games, it don't normally take that long. But for this one, it's 3 weeks now. We've got to wait. But I'm going to have to put a lot of blame on Mikel Arteta here. And a lot of people say it's the players and they didn't take their chances and they didn't play well. Yeah, they didn't play well, if I'm honest. I don't think there was anybody on the pitch that can walk away saying they had an outstanding game. But when you look at how we were playing against Burnley, against West Ham, against Liverpool, against Palace, since we've come back from Dubai, it was nothing like that. It was the reverse. It was going back to controlled ways, going back to possession-based football, going back to trying to have the domination of possession, trying to prevent them from getting onto the football. That's fine if that's your game plan to try and keep it a 0-0 and go into the Emirates with, we'll be okay now. But when you let lapse of concentration, show a little bit of naivety, don't concentrate till the last minute of the game, you can get punished in any fixture. This is the Champions League. This isn't Burnley. This isn't Sheffield United. This is a team that are in the Champions League every single year. So I was frustrated, if I'm honest. I feel like we could have done better from the goal. I think as much as it's a great strike and people were saying it was a worldie, I'm not so sure that it was, if I'm honest, a worldie. I mean, it was a good hit. But I look at what Martinelli's doing on the ball there as a 21-year-old. I know he's young, but he's experienced enough to know that in the 94th minute, don't try a pass like that Lionel Messi would be proud of if it come off. Just keep it simple. I don't know what Declan Rice is doing, really. I love Declan Rice, but I think he needs to get closer. And I think David Raya miles off his line, man, and makes himself look about 4'10". So I don't really know that we can just blame the manager, but certainly in terms of his style and the tactics that he put out there, it nullified our front four yet again. And, this proves to me that it is a style and management thing now, because we've seen this happen before previously. And it's not like Saka and Martinelli only turn up when they want. It's Saka and Martinelli are allowed to play football when we're allowed to be free and attack-minded. And when we're not, and we try and keep it calm and composed and controlled and be resolute, it nullifies the attack, and that's exactly what happened. Now, we had a couple of set pieces we could have done better from. Don't get me wrong, we probably could have got up with our heads a bit better, but there weren't really any way that we were peppering their goal. To have 0 shots on target proves to me that it's a management style thing, because we've just put 21 goals past teams in 5 games. So you can't tell me the strikers aren't on fire. So it was definitely a style of play thing, man. And I just think we need to try and forget about this and get back to winning ways as soon as possible, because this is the worst possible thing that can happen going into a nice bit of momentum. Midweek game, you lose it, and then you got to start again and try and find your next win. And that's never easy, man, in football. So I don't know. I was disappointed, yeah, but I was kind of pointing the fingers more towards the management than just the players, if I'm honest, bro.
It's an interesting one, and you've mentioned a point there, which I'll come back to in just a second. But Chris, from your perspective, obviously, for me, it was a bit of a shock result. I had Arsenal to win. In your opinion, does this change things for you with regards to how we approach this game on Saturday from a Newcastle perspective? Has it given you additional confidence that they've had this sort of disappointing result in midweek, or do you think it's going to be kind of the worst thing for us? Where's your head at right now?
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It can work either way. Would I have wanted to face an Arsenal side who'd just beaten Porto like 5-0? Probably not. But then on the other hand, Arsenal have had some fantastic results before that Porto game. Dan alluded to the fact they've been, banging in the goals. So will they come out all guns blazing? This is the thing, isn't it? I mean, it's just not a good time to play Arsenal at the moment. And yeah, they've had that, that poor result against Porto. But Dan's right. It's the first leg, and also, Arsenal at the Emirates are going to be a different beast. So people saying that Arsenal are on the cusp of being knocked out, I'm not sure I'd go with that, particularly as Dan said, they've got a pretty good record against Porto in recent years. But yeah, it's a funny one for me. I'm not looking too much into the Porto game, shall we say, because for me, it's going to be it's a Saturday night under the lights, and I think Arsenal are going to kind of come out and be like, right, let's get back to our Premier League form, which, as I say, recently Arsenal have been fantastic in the Premier League, banging goals in left, right, and centre. So I'm sure they'll probably want to put things right on Saturday, but it's whether or not we're going to let them beat. That's the key. Yeah,
that's it. And I just wanted to come back to to Arsenal. For you, again, question marks about Mikel Arteta. Are you worried about your potential rise at Arsenal with Mikel Arteta? Obviously, he's come off the back of 5 wins in the Premier League. Things are looking to go in the right direction there. But Champions League's where kind of the big boys are at, and where you want to be fighting at the top end of sort of European football. Are you worried or concerned that Mikel Arteta isn't the guy?
I think I've always had that concern, Pete. I've always had that worry, mate. And you can say that he's done a really good job to get Arsenal back challenging, but I didn't really want that. I wanted Arsenal to be back winning. And there's a difference between challenging and winning. I honestly believe that he's done some very good things. And I think he deserves a lot of plaudits for what he has done in the job so far. But whether he's going to be the guy to get us across the line or not, I still have my doubts. And people are sometimes in this fan base very much in love with being positive and just don't worry, everything's going to be all right. Until I can see evidence that everything's going to be all right, I'm going to have my reservations. And I feel like Mikel Arteta has got enough credit in the bank with this fan base to finish in the top 4 and trophy this season and be okay. But as far as I'm concerned, that isn't any progress. That is failure. That's not success to me, because we did that for 20 years under Arsene Wenger and he got sacked. So if you're going to be sacking a manager who is classed as a proper legend and bringing a young coach to start again and just be happy that we're doing what the guy that we sacked did, I don't really see where we're moving forward-wise. Now, to be honest with you, we're competing with 2 of the best managers in the world, in Klopp and Pep. So, of course, it's not going to be easy. But what I will say is that if you are going to finish the season trophyless, there needs to be justification as to why that's happened. And what I mean by that is if you're losing to Porto, West Ham, and the first round of the FA Cup and coming third, that is not anything to be proud of. And that is not anything to say, yeah, I can see where we're going here as a football club. Because last year we finished trophyless and we threw away a title. And if he isn't able to get us across the line yet again, then we're going to start to question him. And I think that's justifiable to question him. Now, I'm not saying that we can not win anything and he has to go, because there's some that are like that. You know, Northside comes on my channel, Lee Gunner talks about it a lot. There's a few others like Kenny Ken, Jez, a few others that have said, look, if you don't win nothing, I'm done. Get someone in who can. And you know what? I can't sit there and argue too much with that. I can't say that's out of order. I can't say that's wrong, because ultimately that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're the 3rd biggest club in England. We should be winning, right? But when you look at context and say, right, why didn't we win? Well, we got to the final of a Champions League and we lost on penalties to Real Madrid. And we took Man City to the last game of the season, but they nicked it by a point on the last game. Yeah. I'm not going to be harsh enough to go get rid of this guy as a failure, because there's context as to why that's happened. But if we are going to go and finish 3rd behind Klopp's team, close to Emery's team, a manager we got rid of, close to Postecoglou, who was in phase 1, and come 3rd, and then get knocked out to Porto and go out in the domestic competitions, there'll be justification as to why he might have to be moved on. But we have to give him till the end of May and see where we're at, Pete, to be honest. But if I'm honest, I like some of the stuff he's done. However, he hasn't had it massively hard at Arsenal, in my opinion, like some people think. He's had 600 million to spend. He's had every single player he wants, not given to him. Emery was given Pepe when he wanted Zaha. Emery was given David Luiz when he wanted Upamecano. Emery was given Ceballos when he wanted Partey. Arteta's got the guys he wanted in, right? So there's definitely, for me, question marks as to where his future lies. But I think there needs to be some context behind it, bro.
Yeah, I think that's it's an interesting point. Is that for me, I look at this, and Chris, I want to get your opinions on this as well before we come to sort of Newcastle perspective, is that I always look at Arteta and I think he reminds me a lot of Eddie Howe in this situation, in that he's evolving in the role at the magnitude at the club that he's at. And he's literally learning on the job, because he's got experience playing at the top level, but managing at the top level is something that's very, very different. And just going back to the Champions League, he's never managed at that level. You might have seen it under Pep, but not actually been able to manage and make those big decisions. And Eddie Howe, I find, is very much of the same. Going into the Champions League for the first time, having to navigate himself through that, and Wednesday, Saturday, which a lot of other big clubs are used to. We're not. And Arteta is having to have that same kind of journey, should we say, on the back of that. But the question I've got for you, Chris, on this and Arteta, and you can link it with Howe as well, is that are the Arsenal fans going to be patient enough to allow him the time to evolve into that role? For me, I think that's the big question. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, it's a really good point you made. And to be honest, Pete, when you were talking about it, my first initial reaction was Newcastle and Arsenal are in completely different places at the moment. If you fast forward 4 to 5 years, maybe there'll be similar places. But at the moment, I think Eddie Howe will be afforded that time. And I think there will be the majority of the Newcastle fan base who will be, a lot more patient with them. And I'm not quite sure if Arsenal are in that place. Arsenal are serial winners. They've got a rich history. Obviously, they're used to winning a lot of things under Arsene Wenger, and they've had some real top managers, and they've won some major trophies. Obviously, we've not had that problem in the last 60 odd years. So I do, to an extent, I do feel a bit sorry for Mikel Arteta, because I agree that he is learning on the job, but that comes with being in charge of such a big club. You've got to take that responsibility, and it is a results business. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it absolutely is. And Arsenal fans will want success. And, again, I know I keep saying this, but as Dan said earlier, they've invested a lot of money. And when you start spending a lot of money, you need to then back that up with results and trophies. And if you're not doing that, that's when, it brings in a lot of unsettlement. And I do get why, some of the Arsenal fans aren't wholly behind Mikel Arteta. I mean, it looked like, he turned things around, and, he could go and win the title this year. And if he does, that's going to certainly bide him some time. But if Arsenal end up falling away and, finishing third, there will still be some questions asked of them. And obviously, if they get knocked out of the Champions League at this early stage, that will also be, questions will be asked. So it's difficult for Mikel Arteta, but he is still learning. Will they persist with him? I mean, how long's he been here now, Dan? Is it 4 years he's been at Arsenal now?
This is his fifth season, but
Right.
four and a bit, I suppose. If you look at it, he came in and he won the FA Cup, didn't he, in his first few months, and since then he's had another 4 seasons. So yeah, man, it's enough time to have no more excuses about this isn't my side. I'm going to need time. I need to be in this phase. I need this amount of windows, this amount of money. We've seen enough now. It's time to deliver, in my opinion. There's no more process. There's no more phases. All that was excuses, as to why we didn't win something, in my opinion, by some of the fan base. And I think there's a section of the fan base that have changed their tune on Mikel Arteta. I think last season, Mikel Arteta proved a lot of people wrong, not just those that didn't believe in him, but those that believed in him, because they believed he was going to get top 4. Yeah. They didn't believe he was going to go for a title. So I think he proved even the people that actually believed in him wrong. But this season, it's about delivering for me. And, when you go and buy £100 million Rice, you're not doing that to get in the top 4. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
we've got to go compete now, man.
I think as well, he's had some difficult milestones to get over as well, hasn't he? Obviously he made the decision to strip Aubameyang of the captaincy, then got rid of Aubameyang. You had the problem with Xhaka. So he's had some difficult moments, but he's kind of come through them. But now is the time to deliver. And if he doesn't deliver, it's only going to end up with one outcome.
Definitely, and like you said, we're in different sections now in terms of where Arsenal are fighting at and where Newcastle United are fighting at. But ultimately, our owners want to be fighting at that exact same level at some point down the line. And so Eddie Howe, although not at that level at the moment, will be under the same sort of pressure at some point. There's no doubt about it. And that kind of segues me nicely to the next kind of topic, really, because talking about Newcastle United, Potts, obviously we talk about him all the time on the 12th man on the Race for Europe show. I know your opinions on Newcastle United in general, but honestly, in your honest opinion, do you see Newcastle United being up there fighting with Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City in the years to come? Can you see that happening? And in your opinion, how quickly do you think it might happen?
So yeah, I do see it happening because you've got the financial power to be. There's no reason why you can't do it. I've had a little bit of respect for Newcastle in the fact that they haven't gone about things in the way that Chelsea and Man City have. And I think some people have been shocked by that you've not gone and bought 12 players to go win now. You've got a manager in who's happy to be and see this through as a project, not go get Diego Simeone, spend 500 million and go win the league next season, which is, to be fair, what Chelsea and City tried to do, right? So I think Newcastle have thought about this a different way. I 100% see you being up there when, probably when Pep goes, mate. If I'm honest, because I don't see anybody beating him. I mean, Eddie Howe, I think he's a great manager. He ain't going to compete with Pep Guardiola, but he's a good manager. I don't think Newcastle have got the squad right now to go and win the league. but it doesn't mean that you're miles off of it. 2 windows can change that depending on how much you're allowed to spend. Now, the profit and sustainability is actually bitting you in the backside, to be fair, at the worst timing ever, because Newcastle should be able to, if they want to, go and say, I want 5 new players and they're all going to cost me £75 million each. And this is how we get to close the gap on Man City. But profit and sustainability has actually advantaged Man City even more, because they've got their squad. They've been building it for 10 years. Everyone else has been catching them up. Now it's going to take us all longer to catch them, because we've actually got to be set by guidelines and restrictions, which is just crap, if I'm honest. Absolutely ridiculous. So I do see Newcastle up there. If I had to guess, I wouldn't go with next season, but I would be looking as a Newcastle fan to be going for the title the season after that. And that doesn't mean you have to win it, but competing for the title the season after that. Because I feel like you've got a good squad you're building. I do think you've got the right man in charge. Some people question him and don't think he's good enough. I don't know many managers that would have dealt with 16 injuries this season personally, but that's just my opinion. Some people disagree and think, everyone gets injuries, get on with it. But I think you and maybe Spurs and United have had the worst injuries of everyone this season. So, yeah, I think you will be up there, man. And I think with a little bit of patience in the next couple of seasons, I think you'll be fine, man. I really do.
And that's the thing. That's the next step for us, I think, Chris, is that, we got Champions League this season, last season, and we were in it this season, which was great. Now it's about how can we sustain that? How can we make that consistently the aim and the expectation every season, and then go on to, and I think Yana put in there, our owners aren't going to be wanting to fight for third. You're right; they want to win the league, of course, but that would be one of the steps. Is to be one of those challenges over the course of that season. Do you think Potts is right, wrong in that? Not next season, but the season after, 2 years. Is that realistic?
I think so. Yeah, I think for me next season the objective is to get top 4, not challenge for it, get it. So I would be hoping that we get top 4, because hopefully we won't have a ridiculous amount of injuries for a start, and we're probably, you could argue, we're probably 2-3 quality players away from really ruffling the feathers of the current top 4. We were a little bit ahead of the project last year, I think, or last season, if you like. I think we were fortunate to finish in that top 4, albeit we deserved it. But we did go ahead of the curve at that point, and obviously this time around we've kind of learned our lesson, and also been unlucky with injuries, as I say, because I do think that has stunted us a little bit. I still find it incredible that we are where we are in the league, considering all the pressures and problems that we've had since arguably September, October time. But yeah, for me, I think it would be about achieving top 4 next season comfortably. And then the season after, yeah, I agree. The season after, I think it's time to maybe add in another 1 or 2 or 3, and then really have a go at the title. Not to say we'll win it, but to certainly be up there challenging.
I think you need a spine as well. Like, I know you've got a spine, but you kind of need a spine next to that spine, if that makes sense. So I think for me, I know Tonali's out, but someone's going to have to replace him, of course, but he is going to come back. Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes, if you keep hold of him, Joe Linton, you've got some good players there. I think Fabian Schär is extremely underrated centre half. I think what's his name, Sven Botman is fantastic. You've got to keep these players fit, by the way. But when you have got them fit, you've got a really good 11. It's building on from that 11, isn't it? And looking at how you can have some depth in this squad. Likewise on the wide areas as well. So yeah, man. I look at Newcastle this season. Joe Linton, top player, injured. Tonali, top player, problems. Isak, for me, after Haaland, the best striker in the league. Injury problems. Yeah. Sven Botman, I think he's been a really good signing for Newcastle. Injured. What's his name in goal? Injured. It's just like, wow, the whole of your spine has pretty much been out. And, you can only do so much when you've got that, man. You really can.
Probably another conversation for another show as well, Dan and Pete. I hope you agree on this. We need a top number 1. We need a top number 1. Nick Pope's a good goalkeeper, and I'm not doubting him, and I like him. But for me, he's very much in the Ramsdale mold. Like he's a really good goalkeeper, but he's not your top draw. And I think when you're talking about improving the spine, for me, that's what we need. We need to go out and invest in a real top goalkeeper, and I think that'll make all the difference as well.
Yeah, there's not many about, man. Not many
Yeah,
about.
there's not.
Obviously,
There's not.
Ramsdale will be available, but whether you believe that's a huge upgrade on Pope or not, I do personally. I feel like it is, but I don't think it's huge upgrade. I think he's better, but I don't think it's like wow levels. Um, if you're looking at that, you're going to have to go and nick one off of a very, very good side, and that's going to be hard, man. Very hard. Maybe Michael Mannion at AC Milan is a top goalkeeper by the looks of it, but is he going to look towards that step? Maybe. AC Milan are bigger than Newcastle, of course, but where they are right now and where Newcastle's project is, maybe you can tempt it. Players like that now, I don't know. You'll have to see, but it's not just the goalkeeper. I think goalkeeper, centre half, sort your midfield out, maybe a creative midfielder, and then a centre forward that is absolute wow. So allow Isak to either play with him or play off of him. That's where I'm at.
Who stays fit?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And that's the thing is that we talked about Ramsdale before, whether him and Pope have been on the same level, and whether we're going to go and get better. But Isak's another conversation as well, and I think we'll definitely talk about him in just a second. But look, bang on point, bang on time. The man is in the house and just on time. So let's bring him in. The main man from Troopz TV. It's Troopz. How you doing, boy?
Apologies, boys. You get me? The pod started late. Oh, it was all madness, blood. I've literally got like 15 minutes and then I got to do school run.
Blame Hussam, man. Blame Hussam. Don't blame me.
He's lucky he had Friday play. He's lucky he had Friday prayers, bro. Otherwise, I would have sent for his clout. You get me? So I had to keep it. I had to keep it halal. You feel me?
No. Hey, you've come at a perfect time because look, we're going to get into this and then we'll get into tactics really quickly. And I want to get your predictions before you have to go on the run. But look, it's been 111 days, okay, since the last game that we played against you in there. I did see some fume from Arsenal fans around the way. And I just want to know from your perspective, boys, is that, have you got over this? Have you now accepted that the goal was clear, it was clean, and we won 1-0 fair and square? That was the question I've got for you. So look, Troopz, I'm going to come to you first because you just joined the chat. Talk to me.
I was over it from it happened. You get me? I don't really dwell on things, innit? I just kind of move on with it. It was a sour feeling, a sour taste, because you could see like the ball was clearly out in it. But it is what it is. We have to move on. It's just a thing where like, are you not going to come and park the bus like you did last year? Are you going to do all the time wasting you did last year? Is your whole team going to be on yellow cards for time wasting? You get me? Is the away end going to see the ball more than we are? Like that's my worry in it, because last year it was a fact that excuse me, the ball spent most of the time out of the play. It was the match where the ball spent most of the time out of play. So you lot had a game plan. It's just that we have to kind of stop that game plan.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And look, we're not gonna argue against that. And look, Potts, we had this conversation after the last one at the Emirates last season, because I know that you were frustrated by the way that Newcastle United set up, but we weren't in that position where we could go out and go toe to toe with you. Nor should it be expected to. At the end of the day, is that we're still on our growth. We're still sort of developing as a team. And look, let's face it. When was the last time we won at the Emirates? 2010. Like our record there is shocking. Like I don't think we've even scored since then.
Wasn't it Andy Carroll? Was that Andy Carroll?
Yeah, Andy Carroll. It was like 39th minute or something. I remember flipping.
That, man.
Who came out flapping like a seagull? I think it was Chesney, blood.
Yeah,
probably was, man. Probably was.
And so
I don't even mind. I don't even mind the way that you shithouse the draw personally, because for me, tactically, that's how you got to sometimes do it against us. If you come up against us, try to play football, sometimes it can go wrong for you, right? So I understand it. Where I think I was frustrated last time we played you at home was I was actually bigging up Newcastle in terms of how you were playing and expecting, like, I think I predicted like a 3-2 game or something mad. And then for you to come and play like that, I was just like, meh. That kind of disappointed me in both ways. One, because we couldn't really find an answer, and two, because it was disappointing as a kind of fan who thought I was going to see some good goals and an exciting game. It was frustrating. As for the St. James Park one, that just pissed me off because it was my birthday weekend, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? So me and my dad...
Swear down, it was your birthday,
yeah,
Potsy.
honestly, bro. I was there and I was like, let's just go have fun in Newcastle. I ended up in like Pop World and just in Newcastle's town centre, just going... Well, just go and have some fun.
We still looked after you. We still looked
yeah.
Yeah, you got looked after.
They proper look after me, man. Proper looked after me.
You didn't go top.
But yeah, listen, don't go Pop World with Julian and the judges, man. Trust me. Listen, it was one of those. I don't actually mind about the ball being out or the offside thing. For me, I still think it was a foul on Gabriel personally, because when you look at the ones that have been given and not given and the lack of consistency in the refereeing, that was where I was at. But anyway, I'm over it. It's one of those things. We got to go and do some damage. It's just a shame that we're not on the back of a defeat, man. And we're on the back of a defeat, with Porto. So that's kind of put a bit of a downer on it, but hopefully we can bounce back at the weekend, man.
You boys ready for it again? Shithouse 2 years in a row at the Emirates.
They were the first team to take points off us as well at the Emirates last year.
Exactly. And look, this is why I praised Eddie Howe for it, because Eddie Howe showed in that game, in my opinion, and you guys may disagree, what Mikel Arteta hadn't proven at that point is that he could play a different way and still get the results. For me, that's Mikel Arteta's biggest issue, is that he can't play a different way. And Poch, you know, on Race for Europe, I've said it time and time again. At the beginning of the season, when people were hammering Arsenal for the way they were picking up points, I was saying, actually, I was impressed by it because he was showing something different. He was showing that grit and that drive to not play well, but still get the points. But at that point last season, that was the big thing for me, is that he wasn't able to do what Eddie Howe was able to do there. And for me, and I'm just talking personally, and we'll get a tactics board up in just a second, I genuinely want Eddie Howe to do exactly the same again. Because I think if we can stop Saka and Martinelli, who are your big driving forces, I genuinely think that we could stop you playing. Like, we might not stop you creating chances, but your free-flowing football, you look at your last 5 results. Saka's got 6, Martinelli's got 3. Like, those guys have been tearing it up recently. They've been your biggest catalyst for your rise in your performances. We stop them playing, I think we'll stop Arsenal playing. But look, you guys might have a different opinion on that.
I mean, I don't know about you, Troopz, but I've been excited by what I've seen in the last 5 games. My frustrations lie with the manager when he turns it around like he did on Wednesday and says, no, let's nullify the attack now and go with more controlled, possession-based, dominant football. And then you get bitten in the backside last minute. If we try and do that against Newcastle, I'll be pissed. I can't lie. I want to go.
We have to go for the jugular.
100 we do, man.
Because the form, like the difference in the performance on Wednesday night to the last 5 games is ridiculous, bro. It's absolutely ridiculous. It was lackluster. There was no fluidity. There was no intensity. It was just sideways. It was just there was no ideas. Like, there was no bravery shown. If we want to win this title, we have to win our home games, blood. You get me? And we have to beat the better sides in the Premier League. Newcastle, obviously, they're on a bit of a sticky run of form right now. Pause. But they are one of the better sides, blood. You get me? Like, if they have all their players fit, they have 2. They could. Isaac's one of the best strikers in the league, bro. You get me? Bruno's one of the best midfielders in the league. You know what I mean? They got a solid defense. They got a decent goalkeeper. Even the Bradford's coming now, and he's doing all right. He started off a bit shaky, but now that he's got like the game time, he's up to scratch. He's looking more like the Bradford you used to see before. Obviously, Pope went there. So for me, it's like I think all the pressure's on us, blood. We have to start early. We can't like go out there and play timid and wait for Newcastle to like step up the pitch a little bit. We have to go to them because they're not going to do that. They're not going to come onto us. Pause. They're going to want to sit back, low block, because they know how do you beat Arsenal? How do you stop Arsenal? Low block. Put everyone behind the ball, and they can't break it down. Do you understand? So the likes of Martinelli and Saka, they have to be proactive, blood. You get me? Everyone's out here saying you're world class, you're this, you're that. For me, I don't think Foden or Saka are world class. I don't think both of them are world class right now, bro. That's my opinion. I think Like Foden's the technically better player, but Saka's more consistent. Saka's more productive than Foden. But Foden is the better player. Technically, he's the better player. But when it comes to numbers and consistency, Bakayle's in his own planet, blood. Because the man's playing piss poor at this moment in time. He's not playing to the level that we know he is. And you look at the numbers, they're still ridiculous, bro. You get me? So these men have to, like, on Wednesday, Saka won attacking his man. He weren't getting to the byline. He was very timid. He can't be doing that. He has to be running at Dan Burn. Dan Burn's having nightmares right now. Everyone I talked to, like I spoke to Big Uggs yesterday. You don't probably know Big Uggs.
Yeah,
and Big Uggs was saying that, he wants Livramento to start. Because when you played against PSG, he locked down Dembele. Obviously, Dan Burn, you get me, blood. My nan's been passed away 4 years, brother. She still turns quicker than him, blood. You get me? It's a Mazzoline, bro. You understand? Like, real talk, bro. Like, it's a Mazzoline, bro. Like, and if you do start Dan Burn, we have to like Ben White's got to be overlapping. We have to be, everything's got to go down the right hand side, bro.
Yeah, look, I agree, and I know Chris will agree with regards to the Livramento, and this is why I wanted to bring the tactics board up, because look, from your perspective, boys, what is your team going to be on Saturday night? I imagine that Ray is going to start in goal, right?
Yeah. Would you start the same team, Troopz, or would you bring Jorginho in?
You see me, yeah. I only start Jorginho in like Liverpool, City, where you want to keep possession. You want to play a possession-based game. I don't think this is the type of possession-based game. I think this is the game where we go for the jugular. Okay. So I think putting Jorginho in there, it brings. I think it just brings too much control. I think we need like a bit of we need Havertz. We need like Zinchenko. I'd play Kiwior. I'm not gonna lie.
It's gonna be Kiwior, man, because Zinchenko's still not back.
Yeah,
so it'll be Kiwior left back, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, and then I think it will be the same team. So I think it will be Declan Rice, and then it will be Havertz and Ødegaard, and then I think it will be Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard, unless Jesus is back. But I've heard nothing about Jesus.
I ain't heard a thing.
Training, nothing, man.
Even Tomiyasu, like the guy was fit. Man's in Asia Cup playing for Japan. Donny comes back, done. Like I said in my watch along, like, bro, I rate Tomiyasu highly, blood. But I'm at the point where, like, I'm like, sell him, sell Partey, get rid of these man, because I need people that are fit and available, blood.
Facts.
It's like when I say, I use this terminology, like, you're there when we're on the block, summertime, we invite the girls, barbecue, you're there, blood. When we go to the club now and it goes left in the smoking area, you're in your yard playing FIFA. Yeah, I need you in smoking area with me when it's going left, bro. Do you understand? Yeah. So for that reason, like it's like with Partey, it's not the ability, it's the fit, it's his fitness. Same with Tomiyasu, it's not his ability, it's his fitness.
Hey, Jesus apparently been training.
Not that I've heard, though.
Not that I heard.
I'm not sure. There was a tweet earlier that apparently he'd been in training.
Okay, Partey, interesting.
Jesus and one other who had
Partey and Vieira are training. Vieira was on the bench the other night.
Yeah, that's the other one. And Jesus apparently as well.
Jesus, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu haven't heard anything from. So if Jesus is fit, I reckon he'll start him. But I think Trossard has been on fire the last few games, man. So it'll be real harsh to not play him, in my opinion.
Down the middle or Martinelli?
It'll be Trossard through the middle, and then him and Havertz do like this in and out of possession thing where they interchange, and they've got like a 4-4-2 type thing coming on, man. So that's what team will be, I reckon.
Right, quick, Chris, whip through your starting 11 for Newcastle.
I
will. I have to go in a minute, but I've got a couple of questions. I just want to throw it in before he does leave.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm conscious of Troopz and Dan's time, so I'll whiz through it. So I think it'll be Martin Zabavka in goal, mate. I'm going to go 5 at the back piece. I'm convinced he's got to do it. So I'm going to go Livramento left wing back.
Yeah.
Dan Burn left centre back. Sven Botman in the middle.
Yeah.
Fabian Schär just to his right, and then Kieran Trippier right wing back.
Yeah. Let's get him in there. Go for it.
The 2 holding will be Miley on the left and Bruno on the right, just in front of Ødegaard and Havertz.
Yeah. Miley. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, and then up top, this is the shock. I think Anthony Gordon's going to start on the left. I think Miggy Almiron is going to be on the right. And I think the boys will be happy to know. I think Alexander Isak's going to start through the middle.
Great.
Baller, man. Baller.
Yeah, superb.
He's the big dog. He's the big dog.
He's my favourite player. He's my favourite player you got by far, mate.
Yeah, he's the one that you guys want. Like, honestly, you guys would be right in that title race.
Yeah, we should have got him, man. We should have released that clause, man. I said this, but we had Eddie and Ketty on our fan base were twerking for him, and I'm like, what's going on? Jeez.
But just remember, boys, he's ours, yeah? He ain't going anywhere. He's wearing black and white for the next 10 years. Just saying.
Mate.
Just saying. He ain't going anywhere. But look, but this is the thing, and this is the team that Chris has put out is exactly what I want to see, because I want this touch tight, not going anywhere, can match him for pace, great tackler, but can get forward and support when needed. This is what needs to happen. That protection for this man in there. If you're going to start him, fine, but you need that protection. Trippier, I'll always back Trippier. He hasn't got the pace, but I'll always back him with his intelligence and his experience to manage anyone there. And it's just whether we can keep it tight with numbers and block out the spaces. You guys love to make those little intricate tight passes in tight areas along the 18-yard box. Can we nip that in the bud? We did it last season. Can we do it again? And Chris, when you got this man and this man on the counter attack, we always got the opportunity to nick a goal. Look, where you boys going to win it?
As well as Troopz says, with Ben White overlapping, that we need to see that from Livramento and Trippier. You know what I mean? We need to push Arsenal back and give Martinelli and Saka something to think about, going forward.
If we're going to play five at the back, I want this. I want this because he ain't going to come back there. Bruno will go over, or Miley will go over. Gordon doesn't do a lot of tracking back, not as much as you think. He sticks in that position because he wants that counter attack because he's got the pace to exploit. And I think that'll be really, really interesting. It's going to be an interesting game. But look, Troopz, Potts, really quickly, anything on that tactics ball before we move on from that?
Go on, Troopz.
Not really. No, not really. I got a spin though. Can I just give you a quick prediction?
Yeah. Go for it.
I'm saying 2-0 Arsenal.
Ah, come on, man.
2-0 Arsenal.
We've been scoring goals at the moment. We're smashing in goals. We're conceding them, but we're smashing them in.
No, we'll keep a clean sheet at home.
Last thing from me, because I know you're a big WWE fan like myself.
Reigns, man. Don't bring me that Cody crybaby bullshit around here.
He's got to finish the story, bro.
Nah, I'm not. Cody gonna finish this, bro. You see my Twitter, People's Champ, bro. We the one, baby. You know what I'm saying? Cody, little crybaby. He can cry, blood. What's his story anyway? The guy's robbed, bro. Man, moving like he's some legend. His dad's a legend. You ain't a legend. Get out of here, man.
Oh, I love it. Nah,
but love, boys, man. I appreciate that. Next time, definitely we'll do more. But blame Hussam, blood. Big man thing.
I will get on it. But no,
I appreciate it. I Potsy, we're gonna link up.
Yeah, man. Love, bro. Love
I pick up the chat as well, man. Make sure you subscribe to the thing. Come on, gang business.
Top man. You take care, bro.
In a bit, bro.
Nah, I knew he had to shoot, and I knew his show ran over, so it was always going to be tight. But
he'll come on next time, and I'll get him on for longer than it next time. It's just his show, innit? So.
Definitely. Always runs over. Got an interesting one. I think there might be a couple of questions actually for Potts just before we kind of get
go on, man.
His prediction, and then we wrap up.
Yeah, I'll hit the Potts with some quick ones. I love this one from you and Malcolm. Potts, who's better, Anthony Gordon or Gabriel Martinelli?
That's a really good question, I think I went on record on my channel saying, why the hell are Chelsea going to pay 70 million for Gordon? It's crazy. Because they were linked with him first. I think that's right. Was it Chelsea linked with him first? Yeah. And then Chelsea. You ended up getting him. And I thought, that's a hell of a lot of money for a player who ain't done much yet. In terms of who's been better this season, I think Gordon's left Martinelli dead in the water, if I'm honest. In terms of form, I think Gordon. But overall, as a player, Martinelli is incredible, mate. Absolutely incredible player. The tenacity, the work rate, the understanding of link-up play. I think his finishing is probably the best at the club. I love the fact that he can play in a number of positions. And I just think when Gabriel Martinelli came on the scene, he wasn't really given the opportunity like some others, but he forced his way into sides up front or on the left and scored goals. People forget that he scored 10 goals in his first season at Arsenal. in all competitions, and that was mostly in League Cups and Europa Leagues. I'm a big fan of him, man. So I'm going to stick up for my boy on this one. But I think that Anthony Gordon is a top talent.
Good stuff. Chris, I think there might be a little bit of breaking news.
Yes.
Talk to me, fella.
Yeah, so pleased to announce we are soon to be going in partnership with Manscaped, the best in men's grooming. So Manscaped are going to be joining us on our journey on Loaded, and they are going to shortly be sponsoring us. We're hoping it's going to be announced officially in or around the middle of March. But yeah, we just wanted to break that news. Yeah, so we've got a new sponsor on board, and it's the men's grooming company, Manscaped. So yeah, very, very excited.
Great stuff. Great to have them as a partner and sponsor of the channel. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. Some good news that landed today for us boys, as we keep trying to do the good deed and build the channel like yourself, Potts. You're smashing it right now. Close to 17K.
Yeah, that's the next target, bro. And 17. It's weird, isn't it? You either say 10, 15, 20, and then when you get in between, you don't quite know what you're supposed to say. But yeah, I'm on 16 and a half. So yeah, whatever you want to go, either 20 or 17. That's where I'm at. So yeah, man. But no, I appreciate all of you guys and appreciate you coming on and contributing, Pete, obviously big time. So appreciate that, man.
No worries at all. One last question before we get prediction, Chris.
One last question, right? I need to know the answers to this. So Tom Dixon asks, has Tierney got a future at Arsenal? Because he's been linked with Newcastle in the past few transfer windows. Now, I know he's not seemingly favoured by Arteta, but what are your thoughts on Tierney, Potts?
Probably over the last 3 seasons, other than Saka, he's been my favourite player. I love everything about his professionalism. I love the fact he's got a winning mentality. I think he's a proper left-back who can defend. He's also one that can go forward, and he's old school crossing the ball in. So he's not one of these inverted ones or one that comes inside. He proper beats his man and whips the balls in. I'm a big fan of Kieran Tierney. His injury record has not been pleasant, but who's has at Arsenal in that position? We've got our current 4 left backs all out. So for me, top talent is not favoured by Mikel Arteta because he does not fit a system that he wants to play. That is literally the only reason. It's not because he's not good enough as a footballer. He just doesn't fit into that inverted mould. And unfortunately, this season, in the last few games, we've started to see Ben White invert, which would have given me the question mark of, could Kieran Tierney still be our left back with Ben White inverting? And I think he could have been. But at the moment, he's out in Real Sociedad, loving life. And for me, he's got a lot of balloons coming up in the background. That's how much he likes Tierney. Yeah. I honestly believe, and I know a lot of people did, not a lot of Newcastle fans I spoke to were up for this, but I honestly thought he would have been a quality signing for Newcastle personally. And I know people love Dan Burn, but he's better than Dan Burn. And he might be, when the two are on fire, he might be more exciting to watch Livramento, but I think Tierney is an outstanding talent, man. So wouldn't be a bad signing. I think he'd probably end up going somewhere. I don't know where. I don't think he's going to be at Arsenal, man. But I'm a big fan of his and one of my favourite players over the last couple of years he's been. But it's a shame, man. But I think he's going to have to go.
How much do you think, Potts?
I think we'll probably take between 25 and 35, if I'm honest. We signed him for about 25. He's going to go for about that, I imagine. We'll probably get our money back for him.
Yeah. Sounds about right. And it all depends on how he finishes his loan spell, I think.
And if he stays fit.
Exactly. Because he does need to prove his fitness for sure. But look, we'll get Dad's predictions, get your scores for the game on Saturday. Obviously, Potts is going to be there, roaring Arsenal on. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go for a Desmond. I'm going to go for a Desmond 2-2. I think there's going to be goals in it. I'm going to back my boys to shithouse their way to a point at the Emirates. I have to. I don't like betting against them, so I'm gonna stick to my guns on that. But Chris, what are you going for, fella?
Mate, I can't predict a defeat. So I'm going to go for the draw, but I'm going to go for the funny 0-0 because I just think there would be absolute chaos if we go and get a point. I think there'll be a lot of upset Arsenal fans if we were to go and get a clean sheet and take a point. So for me, yeah, I'm gonna say 0-0.
Potts, as the resident Arsenal fan, of course you're going to back your boys. What you going for?
Yeah, I'm going to back them, but I'm not very good at getting predictions right. I've never won Super 6 or got near it. I don't mean the actual big jackpot because I don't know anyone who has, but I mean in leagues that I'm in. But I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet like Troopz. I think you've got too many players that can hit us. I think Isak and Gordon could be dangerous. But I'm going to go for it. We have to win. I mean, if we don't win this, then the title's looking really tough for me. So we got to be going, and we've got tougher games. No disrespect to Newcastle, you're not at your best at the moment. So we've got tougher games than you to come. So if we can't beat you boys, it's a worry for our title race, that is. So I'm going to go 2-1, man, and be positive.
I love our chat. They're so pro Newcastle. All the scores here. You got 3-0s in there.
He's that hat-trick.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it. It always makes me laugh. But look, quick shout out to our other sponsors, Russ and the team at the radiatorshed.com. Get down and support Russ and his fantastic business, and make sure you support all things Radiator Shed. That is for sure. And whilst you're there, go and have a look at the Bathroom Designs Co. H2O. Fantastic bathrooms, as we've seen. These are some of the old pictures. The new ones are coming in. So they'll be there very, very soon. If you've not already, become a member. I've had lots of new members recently. Click that blue button. You can only do it on a laptop, but make sure you click that button and become a loaded ultra. Guys, we're out. Thank you so much for all your chat and support and everything else in the channel today. If you haven't already, click the like on the way out, subscribe to the channel, make sure you get onto Troopz TV, make sure you get on, of course, to the main man's channel, the 12th Man podcast. Lots and lots of great content, not just Race for Europe, but you got the Best of the Rest show with the other boys on a Thursday. You got your Arsenal content as well. Where can they find you, Potts?
Yeah, man. Listen, my Twitter handle's here on Instagram and TikTok now. I'm trying to get as current as I can, but I can't keep up, man. Dan Arsenal 87. You'll see me on AFTV and Football's 12th Man podcast as well. You'll see Pete on there as well. So make sure you head over if you're not already. And big up to everyone loaded, man, and keep smashing it.
Definitely. And look, just before we leave, to Sir Jim Radcliffe, pay up. Pay up. Pay your money. You want Ashworth? Pay your money. We're out, people. And of course, we do love playing away. Chris, take us home.
Dan, how'd you like that?
Take care, guys.
How you like